It didn't, baby. It didn't mean anything. I love you. Stop watching. Look at me, Mitch. Mitch, look at me. It didn't mean it. Guys.
We were drunk, Mitch, okay? It was my birthday.
I sent you a card, you piece of shit.
Hello and welcome to our new podcast, Two Guys, One Necronomicon.
A horror film podcast for you occult and horror movie lovers alike. I am your host, Bryan Hotboy LaGrasta, and to my right, you're my co-host, Shane. I left it all on Amsterdam Smith.
Which is definitely a nickname I did not agree to.
Oh, come on. You know you love it.
I do not. So basically, we're friends. We've been friends for probably close to 15 years now, and one thing we've always shared in common is our love for horror movies.
That is correct. We do love some horror film.
We've been watching movies since we were kids. Throughout high school, we used to just spend 8 hours a day probably watching B movies, body horror movies, slasher movies, Five Across the Eyes.
Yeah, pretty much for anything from obscure horror movies that you've never heard of, maybe even like college film projects to big studio pictures, which they both have their ups and downs.
Yeah, I mean, we've even seen a movie called Blown, which is about a blow-up doll that murders people at a bachelor party, which is another movie I cannot wait to talk about.
Yeah, that's one we'll feature as well. But we're going to basically be doing reviews as well as discussing each of these films, some thematic elements, and really just getting into the nitty-gritty about horror films in general.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some movies we love, some movies we hate, and basically just shoot the shit, and hopefully you guys enjoy what we have to say.
Or not.
Either way, listen.
Exactly.
But yeah, basically, if you couldn't tell from that opening quote, the first movie we're going to talk about is a movie called Unfriended, which I've now seen 3 times, and each time I've seen it has killed me more and more on the inside.
Yeah, so to be honest, I actually do respect some elements of this movie, and before we get into it,
I would love to know what you respect about this movie.
Before we get into it, just a little bit about what we plan on doing on this weekly podcast. We plan on giving you a little summary of the movie, what the film's about, then going over some spoilers, a little synopsis, kind of like a play-by-play of the movie, climaxes and the endings, whether good or bad, and discussing thematic elements as well. And at the end of that, we'll recap with like a review, maybe give a review based on a 1 to 10 scoring, 1 being a horrible, horrible film that we probably will never watch again unless we're forced to by will.
Yep.
A 5, which is like an average movie, or a 10, which we probably will not be giving out.
Well, I might give a few 10s here and there.
Okay, so I have watched horror movies, like I said, for my whole life, and I do not have 1 10 horror movie. I checked my IMDb list the other day.
Okay.
I do not have 1 10. I have a bunch of 9s. We will be reviewing a bunch of 9s.
It will also be reviewing a few 2s, some 1s, because as much as I hate those movies, I love to watch bad horror movies.
That's the thing about horror movies too, because you can have a great, even Oscar-worthy film that's a horror genre.
Yeah.
Even though they're rare and few in between. And then you can have equally as much fun watching a horrible movie that can be funny in its embarrassments.
Yes, that's all right. So perfect breakdown. Hereditary, newer horror movie that came out, should have been up for an Oscar for Toni Collette.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
I love that movie. Enjoy watching it. Just as equally, I would love to watch Camp Blood.
You got your Camp Blood. You even got your Alone in the Darks.
Yeah. Oh, well, no. I never want to see Alone in the Dark again.
There are some big budget, clunkers as well. And we plan on reviewing each of those.
Yeah, we already made a list of what started out as 10 movies to get us going with this podcast and has already turned into about 70. So yeah, we definitely got some material to work with.
It up quick. Well, when you have a backlog of movies, like me and Shane, we made it kind of like a almost like another job in watching movies every single week. We created a list of 300 plus movies.
Yes.
And we tackle at least 2 a week, and then we get together one Saturday every month and we watch minimum 6.
Yes. And like he said, there's been some real good ones, some real stinkers, some in between movies. just recently we watched a movie called Pig by Adam Mason.
It wasn't much of a movie as it was like an hour and 30-minute improvisation.
Yes, of just insanity. And it was awful, but I will give it one thing.
It delivers
the ending.
Yeah.
The ending is pretty good, which that is definitely a movie we'll talk about later. But let's get into it now. Let's talk about Unfriended, a movie that apparently you thought had redeeming qualities.
Yeah, so all right. So before I get into obviously what I think about the movie, let's discuss what this movie is about. 6 high school friends video chatting one night soon find themselves haunted by a supernatural entity using the account of a former friend who died exactly 1 year ago.
Yes. Is it to the day?
To the day.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
To the day.
Yeah, I kind of forgot, even though I watched the movie just yesterday because it was that awful.
So this is a horror mystery thriller, I would say. Kind of almost like a whodunit. And I would say the horror aspect is a little tamed. I don't think it's very scary. I think it's more of a thriller mystery than a horror.
It's a bad attempt at a ghost story.
Agreed.
Is it because essentially, since we're getting into spoilers already, it's Laura Barnes, the girl who had killed herself, Laura Barnes, who had killed herself, coming back as a ghost a year later to seek revenge on her classmates, who we'll get into more what they did, but it has no good ghost elements to it. It's just a Skype call, and it's very bad acting. That's all it is.
So for a majority of the movie, it's 6 friends. They're on a web chat, and it's just kind of everyone's talking over each other. It's nonsensical at times. And I would say this movie is actually the perfect, and I say that not meaning this is a perfect
anticipating
film.
Where this is going.
A perfect movie for the Gen Z age group.
Okay.
Because you're introducing like this new area of technology.
Mm-hmm.
The whole film takes place in one area, and it's literally a Skype web chat.
Yes. So what you're saying is Gen Z can only pay attention to one area at a time, and it has to be a really boring movie.
That's correct.
All right. So we're losing half of our listeners already. No.
Yeah, I'm a millennial, so I can't really say too much. So.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so basically, the movie has all. It starts with not Laura. It starts with, what's the main character's name again? Blair and Mitch in a Skype call together, and they're having their sexy back and forth where Blair's teasing Mitch by having her shirt unbuttoned.
There's a little sexual swordplay in this initial go around. We find out that Blair's character is giving it up at prom.
Yep. We'll learn. Wouldn't be the first time she's giving it up later, but
so it's interesting because this whole movie kind of takes place from the it's really from the perspective of the ghost, but it's through Blair's computer. She's the one that's typing. She's the one that's almost, I want to say, hosting the chat.
Yes. You could say that since we only focus on her computer.
So prior to her little chat with Mitch, she's watching the suicide video of Laura Barnes, and it's basically her pointing this gun at her face. Her friends who are filming are telling her, don't shoot. And she actually just pops herself in the face.
Yes. And then after she watches that, she then watches the video that led to Laura Barnes killing herself, which was the party where she passes out, but it cuts and you don't see the end of the video yet.
So the whole mystery behind this movie is we're trying to find out what led to the point of Laura Barnes killing herself.
Yes.
Because as you mentioned earlier, this is basically a ghost revenge story.
Yes.
Laura Barnes slowly but surely killing off her friends or anyone who were involved in making this video that led to her suicide.
Yes. So after Mitch and Blair have their back and forth, sexy time, I'll give it up at prom. At this point already, 10 minutes into the movie, maybe not even 10, I could care less about either of these two characters. All the other characters just jump into the Skype call. No one accepts the call. It's just characters at you. And their names are Ken, Jess, Adam, and it's just those guys for now. There's another character that comes in a little later, but she's not there yet.
Yeah, so I looked into every actor actually in this movie to see if they were actually from anything.
Well, Blair's from Teen Wolf.
Jess is from Secret Life of the American Teenager.
Okay.
So they were from this almost like this Gen Z types of TV shows, I guess, maybe millennial. But like this is why I kind of like I respect this movie. Not that I like it.
Okay.
It's because it takes a different approach, and I like things that are different.
Okay, no, all right. So even I'll give the movie. It's a cool idea of having a Skype call as like your main focal point.
So you've seen The Den, right?
Yes, I have.
It reminds me of The Den, except that it's one person, and this person has a purpose. She's doing research.
Yes.
On a project, and she's like going through like different things like chat roulette and
Yes.
like all these different.
Oh, speaking of chat roulette, there is a great chat roulette scene in this movie.
There is. But yeah, so this kind of reminded me of that, except this takes a different element because this is like an actual video chat and different, personalities on the screen all at the same time together, and they're acting over each other. And I think that mesh just didn't really work.
Yes.
But yeah, we'll get more into that.
If we're going to just talk about characters right away, just talking about the characters that we have up to this point, like I said, Mitch and Blair right away. I don't care about them.
They're like the love story.
Yes, and they're the main characters. Jess is just there right now. Ken just seems like the loud fat guy.
Ken's supposed to be the funny fat guy.
Yeah,
that's Ken.
He has his moments. The funny guy is Adam. Adam has some scenes in this movie that generally make me laugh.
He's the one character that takes it from the 0 to the 100 really fast.
All the time. There is a part in this movie, and I know I'm jumping ahead, but I have to talk about it a little bit, where the ghost is like doing its ghostly things, and then Adam just has a gun.
Yeah, he just whips out a gun out of nowhere. Like,
yes. It is fantastic.
Yeah, so they're talking, and while they all enter the group chat, also entering is a pictureless entity into the film.
The Skype name is Billy227, and no one has invited this person to the chat or knows who this person is. So they're just trying to, for the next, 3-4 minutes, try to get this person out of the Skype call by all of them constantly going in and out of the Skype call.
That's correct, yeah. And what's interesting about it, during all of this, Blair starts getting messages. Blair and Mitch are getting messages from Laura Barnes' Facebook profile.
Yes, and it's really starting to freak out Blair. She's asking Mitch if Mitch is the one who's doing it. Mitch is like, no, I'm not.
Like, why would I do that?
So then I believe it's at this point, Blair decides to memorialize Laura's Facebook account. Mm-hmm. And then she puts in all the information, and then she can't do it.
Yeah. She also can't unfriend her. Yeah. She tries to unfriend her. Hence the name of the movie. But
roll credits. But
she's unable to unfriend her at first.
Yeah, so then Mitch has the best suggestion in the movie, refresh the page. And that works. And then she's able to unfriend her, despite them still talking throughout the movie. It does work at that point in time.
Not for long.
No. So at this point, I think it's when Blair suggests it might be Val playing a joke.
So I guess Val, who will come in, is the character that's the slutty personality.
I don't know. They gave her... There was no character development.
There's no character development for any of these. You just kind of air their dirty laundry
for the most part. All you learn is they're all horrible humans that you really don't care about.
So it makes me think about like my high school days, like the bad things that I did or like the secrets that I have, and I'm like, wow, I didn't do any of these things. And my favorite part of this movie, if there is a favorite part, is when they play the Never Have I Ever game. We find out what all of them were doing behind each other's backs, and I'm like, who at like 16 years old, 17 years old, maybe 18, would have the ability to do these kinds of things?
Yeah, it is the best scene of a movie that's terrible. By far, when they play that game. Absolutely love it.
So at this point, they all they don't know who this Billy227 person is that joined the chat with them. So there's a suggestion for all of them to put their hands up to prove that they're not the one, typing and threatening them and doing all.
Now at this point, is Val in the call during this? I think she is. Right?
I think she is as well.
So is that also that? But is that before that happens, where they put their hands up? Is that when supposedly Jess posts those drunk pictures of Val on Facebook? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah,
and I cannot.
I think that comes afterwards.
After.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in any case, none of them are involved. So they clearly know that this is someone that's either playing. They believe that someone's playing a prank on them, that someone's hacked her.
Because at this point, nothing supernatural has happened. I mean, as a viewer, okay, it's going to be Laura. It's a ghost. But in terms of being in the movie, they don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and it's at this point, Laura messages Blair and says, if any of you guys hang up, everybody will die. So that there's the first threat being
Yes.
thrown out. And then to your point, then you see a still image of Val, who's stating, Val, Rommel, kill yourself. So this is the threat directly at Val.
Yes, that does happen. Before that, though, I believe it is Blair figures out that the Billy 227 account belongs to Laura.
Yeah. Sorry, I skipped that. So after literally simply right-clicking, they find out, oh, wait, this is Laura Barnes.
Yeah, because, on Skype, you could see a person's profile if they have information. And that's when, despite nothing supernatural happening yet, Ken's like, maybe it's Laura. And I'm like, why would he suggest that? I mean, I get it. We're watching a horror movie, so we would think that. But, like, why would he think? Like, he would just think, oh, maybe it's one of my other classmates. But be that as it may.
You always got to pose the outside possibility. Like supernatural activity.
No. Yeah.
And leave it to Ken.
But, yeah. So Val then leaves the call because she's upset about everything that happened and the Val telling Laura to go kill herself messages and all that. And then that's when Ken also goes on his tirade saying, you know what? Laura was a bully and a piece of shit, and she got what she deserved.
So that's one thing I want to touch on, which is interesting about this movie, because this is a revenge movie, but obviously it's a revenge movie because Laura was cyberbullied due to this video that was put on the internet. Yes,
because you will find out that literally all of the people in this chat room made fake accounts telling Laura to kill herself, pretty much, it seemed like.
Yeah.
So...
Yep. So she was bullied. But what's interesting enough is Ken goes on a tirade and saying how bad of a person Laura was.
Yes.
So this is like...
So you can't even sympathize with the suicide ghost.
No, you can't. It's like a bully that was bullied.
Yes.
So it's like, how are you supposed to have sympathy for a character who was doing it herself? So...
yes. Well, then, I believe it's Blair then starts typing to Mitch, because she says Ken shouldn't be saying those things to Mitch.
She had a lot of stuff going on.
Yes, and that's when she starts typing in, you don't know about
her uncle.
And then she's like, her uncle, and deletes it. And I was like, so, like, was her uncle or a kid diddler?
Yeah.
Like, is that what we're supposed to?
We'll never know. Maybe that's Unfriended too, which I've never seen. You've seen it.
I have seen it.
I wonder if they go into the uncle of Laura
Barnes. It has nothing to do with the first movie.
Yeah, so they never touch on Laura Barnes' uncle after that. They never touch on, what the abuse or anything. Blair just kind of mentions it, almost maybe as like a future, like, I guess, foreshadowing of guilt on her part, maybe?
Yes. Like, her uncle did something, and then they, drifted apart, and that's why Laura grew up to be a bully, maybe, and then, maybe they're trying to make you feel bad, but you know what? If you want me to feel bad, make the movie better. Yeah. So anyway, that's when Val returns, and she's just sitting still, staring at the screen with a thing of bleach next to her.
Yeah, that was what I was mentioning. There's still a picture that says Val Rommel, I guess her name's Rommel, kill yourself.
Yes.
So at this point, we're expecting Val to die.
Yes. And she does. She just drops down. You don't see anything. The camera just falls. You see the floor, and then the police show up.
Yeah, and that's one disappointing thing about this movie. I feel like the death scenes were so bad.
The next death scene I think is the best in the movie, which we'll be getting.
Yeah, it is.
But the other ones are all...
They're so mundane. They're so boring.
Well, because you don't even really see them. For the most part, it's just a still image or like shaky cam and stuff like that.
Like a glitchy video feed.
So, but this is also my favorite part besides the game they're going to play that we're going to get to. So when the cops show up, Blair's like, oh, wait, doesn't Val have seizures?
Yeah.
And her way of figuring that out is she goes to Google and types in Val seizures. Like Google is going to give her an answer about her classmate having seizures. God. And that is just what bad movies are made of right there.
They're 18-year-old kids. There's like an air of ignorance, but that's like a little over the hill a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's just bad. It's funny though. I'll give it that. It made me laugh out loud.
Yeah. So after much talking and overall fear for the other people in the chat room, we then get to the Ken death scene.
Yes.
Where he kind of the camera kind of focuses on him and he's got this blank stare on his face.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's just staring directly at the camera and everyone's kind of freaking out like, Ken, what's going on? What's going on? And he's not responding like whatsoever.
Oh, before that though, what led to that scene was that Ken tried to destroy the Billy profile out of the Skype call.
Yeah.
He
He found like a program
that would remove Billy from the Skype call. They all had it downloaded, and then Blair was like, I have the pinwheel. It's not going. And then at the last second, it works, and they think it's solved. And then
Ken, I see Shane's filling in all the details for me.
I wrote extensive details. I mean, I actually, my details are so extensive. There's parts where I just put "this movie sucks ass" in my notes and circled it.
I don't think you're giving this movie enough intellectual credit.
Look, like you said, it did try to do some cool things with like the one location, the Skype call, but I couldn't get interested in it.
Okay, so Ken basically is staring at the camera, and then out of the blue, after much, like I said, shaky cam and losing his feed on and off, he shoves his hand into a blender.
Yes.
And the blender's on, obviously,
yes.
and it's just crushing his hand apart.
Yes, and then it cuts out, and then his throat is just on the blender blade.
Correct. So this is definitely the goriest scene of the movie.
And it, in my opinion, was the best death scene of the movie.
It's interesting because you don't even see Laura kill these people.
No, it's like they're doing it themselves.
So, and there's a part of the movie where you actually notice that Blair's looking up things about ghosts and how ghosts intentionally make people kill themselves.
Yes.
So it's interesting how every character was killing themselves rather than the revenge of the girl killing. She was like making them kill themselves.
Yes, because if you're a cop investigating, it looks like each of these kids killed themselves in a very weird way, drinking the bleach, the blender, and then
this is full circle revenge because they made her kill herself.
Exactly.
She's making them kill each other.
Yes,
or kill themselves rather.
So that's very good. And this also, before I think Ken kills himself, is during the removal. I just wanted to bring this up just so I mentioned it earlier. Is when Adam first pulls out the gun.
Yeah.
Just so you know, at this point in the movie, Adam does have his gun and it is loaded,
and he's ready to go.
Will come back to play later.
Yeah. If I had to choose my favorite characters, it's him, and the only reason why is just because of how crazy he gets, out of the blue.
Yes, it's absolutely incredible. So also in my notes, after Ken gets blendered, I wrote in my notes,
blendered.
Does anyone have parents?
That's a good point.
Because they're shouting in their room a lot.
So there's no way. Okay, so they're not in college, so they're in high school.
No, they're high school kids.
They have
if I was 18 and on a Skype call in my room and was constantly shouting for 15 minutes, one of my parents would come see if I was okay or something.
I know my parents would.
That's what I'm saying. So it's I'm assuming there is a part where I think it's Mitch says his and Blair's dad are out drinking. There's a little throwaway. So I'm assuming
it makes them know that their parents are friends. They're close. They've probably been friends for a while.
But at least that means both their dads aren't there. So that's why they wanted to come help them.
So through the little details of this movie and the secrets that they reveal, you do know that they've been friends and probably friends for a while. They're comfortable calling each other names, insulting each other, for better or for worse.
Yes.
So I would say around 50 minutes into the movie, we're finally shown the video that led to Laura's death.
Yes, which you find out, dun, 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 Laura pooped herself.
She pooped herself. So you've seen throughout this whole film, you've seen little shots of her going nuts at a party.
Yes.
Just talking.
Possibly getting date raped.
Yeah, making herself kind of the life of the party. And the film always stops. But now you get the full video clip.
Mm-hmm.
And you just see her lying and maybe behind a shed or something in the back of a yard. And not only did she poop, she must have eaten chili or freaking gravy or something nasty because it is everywhere.
Yeah. Didn't help she was wearing white shorts.
Yeah.
There's a lot. And so up to this point, though, that's where the video cuts. So you still don't know who filmed that video.
No, you do, though. And I'll explain why. If on first watch, you won't notice it.
I watched it 3 times and haven't noticed it, so I can't wait to hear this.
The silhouette shadow, but you see it on the shed, and it's the shape of a woman.
Okay.
And the long hair of a woman, if you pay close attention. So right then and there, if someone just picks that detail up, you're like, okay, well, there's now 2 women left in here, so spoiler alert, it's one of them, probably.
Yes. It would never be the main character, though.
No.
But okay, wow, all right. I never picked up on that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. All right, so after the Laura video, I believe that's when they finally reveal like all the fake accounts that were telling Laura to kill herself as well, because it's just like posted on the video, and that's when we get into the best scene of the movie, the "Never Have I Ever." Loser will die.
Yeah, so Laura at this point just wants to have some fun. She's had her couple of kills under her belt.
She's seen a couple of Saw movies, and she's ready to play a game.
She's ready to play a game. And we will go one by one with the Never Have I Ever. And if you don't know what Never Have I Ever is, it's basically a game where everyone is given like a Never Have I Ever, for instance, kissed an 84-year-old man.
Yes.
And then everybody would have to, I guess it's put their hand down, or
it's a finger down.
Put a finger down
if you've done it.
If they've done it. So she's going to reveal some secrets here, and they're all going to see what each other
All right, Bryan, get us into these secrets.
All right, let's do the first one. The first Never Have I Ever. Who started the rumor that Blair had an eating disorder and blamed it on Val?
I'm going to take Blair as the one who did that.
It was Blair. And Blair's funny because Blair's the girl that you think is like, she's the virgin.
Yeah.
She's the nice girl. You know, she shouldn't have any of these secrets. She don't do anything wrong.
She should be a great person.
But yeah.
No. We did that wrong. It was Jess that started the eating disorder rumor about Blair, actually.
No, you're right. Yeah. I'm getting these characters mixed up.
So am I.
Jess started it, right?
Yes.
Jess started it about
Which
Blair.
makes sense because she just seemed like a total stuck-up bitch.
Who, Jess?
Yeah.
She's the one you probably know the least about.
She doesn't have many lines.
No, she doesn't.
Or she does, and it's mostly screaming. It's one or the other.
Yeah, that's true.
No, but, yeah.
So you're right, yeah. So Jess started the rumor that Blair had an eating disorder, and they blamed it on Val, who's now dead, but also because she was the quote-unquote one that is guilty of most bad things.
Yes. I see why we're getting it mixed up, because it's the next one where it's who crashed Jess's mom's car while they were drunk, and that's when you find out it was Blair.
These are so ridiculous. These details are so ridiculous. Who crashes Jess's mother's car? That is Blair.
Now, one thing I want you guys to remember, these are all best friends.
Correct. Yeah.
And these are all the things they're doing to each other. So.
And then the next one, Never Have I Ever Made Out with Laura.
Yes. So a couple of people put their fingers down for that one, right?
I know Mitch was the one.
It was just Mitch, right?
Vocalized it. It was Mitch that previously made out with Laura. I don't see the big deal in that, but
I think she was was Mitch dating Blair at the time when
I'm not sure. She didn't raise a point about it.
Yeah, well, to be fair, she shouldn't, because we're going to get to that.
Yeah. This is my favorite one, the next one.
Yes.
Because it's so, like, random and so, like, why? Who ran Adam to the cops for selling weed?
Oh, my God. Yeah, so apparently Mitch did that because Mitch said it was either just Adam or both of them. So it's like, how much weed did they have that they would both possibly go to jail, that a cop was, like, interrogating Mitch?
Yeah, so at this point, they're crashing each other's parents' vehicles. They're saying each other have eating disorders.
Yes.
And it's just like they're ratting their best friends out for dealing drugs.
Yeah.
It's like, who does this at the age of 17? I was like, I don't know, studying?
Yeah, it's, you know. All right, so the next one's even better. So who offered to save their own life for the ghost to kill Jess?
Yes.
Which was Adam.
Adam
said, "Save me! You can kill Jess."
I think that's how irrelevant Jess's character was in this movie. It was kind of just like that.
Yes,
that he would offer his trade. There is also one we did not mention.
Oh, which one is this?
Who stole $800 from Adam? I guess Adam's the rich guy.
Yeah,
he has a gun that he builds.
I honestly forgot that was even the thing.
And that was Jess. I guess you need to pocket a quick $800.
God, everyone was just ripping off Adam, sending him to the cops, stealing his money.
Yeah. So at this point, after being told that Adam was the one that would trade Jess's life for Laura, he's getting flamed a little bit at this point.
This is when Adam goes off the deep end, and I love every second of it.
He proposes a little "Never Have I Ever Had Sex," and this exposes probably the turning point in the film, meaning that the party can no longer trust each other. The group that's together right now can no longer
because up to this point,
be stable and civilized.
Because up to this point, Blair and Mitch's whole thing was that Blair was finally going to lose her virginity to Mitch, or they both were going to lose their virginity at prom. And that's when you find out Blair's had sex already.
Yes.
You don't know with who yet, but you're going to find out shortly.
You're going to find out shortly. And Mitch obviously is not happy about this at all.
Yeah. So that's when Mitch finds out that Blair has had sex with his best friend, Adam.
And their lives are ruined forever.
Pretty much. Because Mitch loses his mind at this point.
He goes nuts. And I think the best part about it is that they actually show the sex video.
Yes.
Like, how did Laura get this footage?
Yeah, I mean, maybe they set up a camera and she just hacked into it. I doubt it. But, like...
She has those ghost eyes.
Yeah, it's just, like, just each of them on top of each other. There's nothing graphic.
You don't see anything.
You're basically... It's just helping Mitch get more and more angry. And I think it's somewhere around here that Mitch is just like, Adam roofied a girl.
Yeah. Yeah, they bring in this random girl, Ashley Dane, I think her name is.
Yes.
And all the bad stuff they did to poor Ashley.
Oh, my God.
Like, they drugged her. They forced her to have an abortion. I'm like, where's this coming from?
Oh, my God. And then it's just like, at this point, Adam's bringing out the gun again.
I love... The gun's the best part of this movie.
Because he's just waving it around. Like, but, like, it's like, okay, so we had, eating disorder rumors, crashing cars, stealing money, drugs. All right, far-fetched. It does happen in some high schools. Well, we're getting to date rape and forced abortions. And I'm like, what high school are these people going to?
Like, what do you achieve at the age of, your high school years, 16 and 17 and 18 years old?
Yeah, oh my God, it is.
I guess we didn't live.
Yeah, and then anyway, let's just keep trucking along. This is when Adam gets a piece of paper printed out on his printer.
And he's yelling. He's like, I'm killing Laura. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm killing her. He's the guy, he's ready to kill a ghost.
He is. And anyway, he sees the paper, and he is super freaked out about what's on the paper.
Yeah, he's super freaked out. And I would say, like, I think it's at this point where Mitch gives Blair that 1 minute, like, ultimatum or that 1 minute chance to explain her infidelity.
Yes.
And then Blair receives a printout as well, and she does not want to reveal it.
No, but Mitch is not having any of that. He is demanding that Blair reveal her paper. And she's like, Mitch, no, I can't do this. Please, Mitch, don't make me do this. And he says he will sign off and leave if she doesn't show.
And obviously leaving, if they leave, they die.
Yes.
That's the whole
That
thing.
is the whole thing.
He thinks it's another secret. That's why he wants this.
Oh, yeah.
Which he has revealed.
I mean, at this point, he's pretty much had his entire world ruined. So.
Yeah. So, basically with all these threats, Blair is basically forced to reveal this note.
Mm-hmm.
And this note reads, if you show this, Adam will die.
So Adam instantly shoots himself in the face.
Yeah.
And then all you see is Adam's piece of paper fall, which says, if you reveal this note, Blair will die. And it's like, oh, well, that was clever.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
So this is just like, I guess, a way of saying never play the game. Never have I ever. It's going to lead to this.
Yes. And then, like, we find out, like, Jess defaced Laura's grave, right? There's something like that.
It's just some more horrible things that these kids have done to one another.
And this, at this point, is the other scene that I love, not for it being good, but for it being one of the worst decisions made, is Blair goes to chat roulette to get help.
Yeah, she does. Because at this point, Jess is hearing, like, gunshots in her house. She's hearing something.
She's hearing something.
She goes to check it out, and they're freaking out because they think that she's done for.
Yeah, that's right. She goes to chat roulette because now she thinks Jess is about to get killed.
Yes.
So her idea is to, instead of just calling the police, which, all right, Laura said don't call the police or I'll kill you. I believe that happened. Yeah. But, like, Laura's clearly, like, has everything monitored. So why does she think, one, I actually think it's more illogical that she thinks someone on chat roulette will help her than that the ghost won't know that she's on chat roulette doing this. So, because, I mean, we went on chat roulette when we were kids. It was young kids and penises.
Dicks.
Yeah, that's all it was. Yeah. you do see some guy stomachs. I don't think that they don't show any dicks, obviously.
No, they don't. Which thankfully they didn't. The Den went there.
Yes,
the Den went.
The Den's
there,
a much better movie, though.
It is.
But yeah, so someone actually does call the police for Blair.
Yeah, she actually managed to get someone to take her seriously enough to call the police.
Yes, which in my notes I actually wrote, how is this actually in a movie right now? This whole scene of someone actually calling the police. I myself would instantly assume it's fake.
Oh yeah, I mean, we've been there.
Yeah,
we've been there. We've seen people like do some weird things. I think I've seen someone fake hanged, or at least I think it was fake hanging.
Yeah, we'll keep it that way. Anyway, it goes on. She calls the police. Jess comes back with a curling iron,
correct,
down her throat, and then it cuts out, and then it's just a picture of Jess with a curling iron,
and now she's off herself.
And it says, what does it say? It said something on the picture. It was a meme, because in my notes I just wrote "good meme."
Yeah,
it was so ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. I don't remember exactly what was on there. But at this point, there's the movie's almost over.
Yes.
And there's about 10 minutes left. And Laura actually messages Blair at this point for another round of never have I ever posted the Laura video.
Oh my God. Yes. And so Mitch and Blair is like, I'm sorry, Mitch, do you still love me? And then I said, even more illogical is that Mitch still loves Blair, despite her being an awful person.
Awful person. The person that was supposed to be good. Like I mentioned, every horror movie has that trope of the nice virgin girl. No, she's not. Obviously, she's very deceitful.
She's a liar.
And obviously, the antagonist of this movie is Laura. To much, you could say it's Blair.
Yes. Laura isn't, despite her being a ghost that's killing anyone, is probably the nicest person in the movie,
because she's revealing
all their horrible,
how bad they are, and she was apparently not great herself.
Yeah, but
we don't know her background.
But that's the thing: we're taking it from all shitty people to begin with, who are saying she wasn't. She could have just been a normal girl, and they just all suck.
That's a good point.
So anyway, Blair says Mitch posted the video, so Mitch stabs himself in the eye.
Yeah, very, very quick. He just plops himself in the eye. With his sword, I think.
Yes.
With the sexy sword.
With the sex sword.
Sword.
Yes, sex sword. He stabs himself in the eye. Yeah. And that's when you find out we watched the full Laura video where the camera turns and it was Blair filming it the entire time.
So you see that it's revealed at this point that Blair is the person who took the video. We don't know who exactly posted the video.
I'm assuming she did.
Yeah, I would assume
because
she's laughing in the video.
Well, I'm assuming she filmed it and then edited out the end where she reveals it's herself and then posted it. That would make the most sense. But Laura gets the last laugh here because she posts the full video of the poop incident with Blair's face filming it onto Blair's Facebook page. And now everyone is saying mean things and unfriending Blair.
Yeah, I feel like this is that time where she should let Blair live because she's going to have to deal with this guilt.
That's another reason why this movie sucks.
And then this is the first time you actually see the Laura ghost.
Yeah.
She shuts her laptop off.
And jumps at her.
And
the movie ends on a jump scare.
And the movie ends. So the one and only jump scare of the movie is this, I would say, if it's even considered a jump scare. And it's the only time you actually see Laura, and it's the only time Laura physically kills somebody.
Yes. And it's also renders the whole movie pointless. Because essentially, I feel like the movie is Blair kind of getting her comeuppance for posting and doing all these mean things. But if the whole point is for then everyone to realize how bad of a person Blair is and unfriend her and be like, why did you do this? What is gained from Laura killing her at the end? Because then it's she doesn't have to live with her consequences.
I agree. And that was the better route to go. I think they fell through some holes.
Yes.
There, kind of shot themselves in the foot. The director of this film. I'm not sure of any of his other work. He's done a couple of movies. His name is Levon Gabriadze.
Okay.
But nothing that I noticed. I respect his style in this movie. It's just like you mentioned. I think that the ending could have been a little bit better.
Yes.
No one was left to live with their guilt since all the major players in this movie died. What was interesting watching this ending sequence too is that Laura, not Laura, Blair, as she's typing to Laura, is constantly typing and retracting what she's writing in this final sequence to to never have I ever posted this video.
Mhm.
And then she finally blames it on Mitch. It's like right then and there, you kind of almost know that it's her.
It's her. And then she for a second was almost going to be a good person.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Laura was expecting, the whole idea was I need Blair to admit this was her.
Yeah, and she never did.
So the goody two shoes never, came up to the plate. She just kept blaming it and others, and were just like omitted the entire idea that it was ever her that posted this video.
Yeah. So that's the movie. So now my question to you, Brian, is what's your grade and why?
So on a scale of 1 to Hereditary, this is like a 4.
Okay.
This is a 4.
Okay.
And
so a little below average.
Yes. And
a little below mediocre, we'll say.
I'll be honest with you, I like new ideas.
Yes.
And I think this was a new idea executed poorly.
Mm-hmm.
I love any kinds of all films. Like, there's nothing like I'd say, oh, this is just a drudge and miserable movie, and I can't watch this style. I've seen stuff from found footage where it's like barely visual that I liked, to 3-hour films like Magnolia that just blew my mind. So I like new ideas. I think this was a cool idea. I think it was executed very poorly with the ending. I don't think there was much story to go on whatsoever.
Yes.
I had no problem with the film taking place over this chat for the entire movie. I literally watched a movie called Lock, where it takes place in a car the entire film.
Well, yeah. There's movies that, like Phone Booth is a great example. Phone Booth takes place in a phone booth, but it's interesting. It's engaging. Colin Farrell's awesome.
Correct. So there's really, behind like the little secret that each character has, there's nothing exciting. The death scenes are bad. If you're looking for like a gore fest, this is not it.
No.
If you're looking for a ghost story, there's much better that's out there.
If you're looking for interesting characters, this isn't it either.
No, it's basically, if you're looking for 6 horrible high school students, basically lie for an entire hour and 22 minutes.
Yeah. This is the movie for you.
This is the movie for you, except that the payoff is not great.
Yes. Which I'll go to my rating. Now, I'm being a little harsh.
You've been harsh the whole time. You've been trashing this movie from the start of the podcast.
So it's not as bad as the rating I'm going to give it, but I truly hate this movie, and I'm giving it a 2 out of 10. I watched it once. I never want to watch it again. You hadn't seen it, so I watched it with you. And I was like, okay, I never have to watch it again. And then we're like, oh, let's start a podcast. I got to watch it again to refresh my memory.
Yeah.
And now I can finally say I never have to see it again. But I will say this. Unfriended 2 Dark Web is a decent movie. I like it. So I'm looking forward to talking to that one when we get to it.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one too. I heard it's better than the first. So,
I mean,
if they could expand on this premise, you've seen it, so I hope that.
Yeah, we won't get into it now, but I do like that one more. But yeah, this the positives I could say about Unfriended, despite me giving it a 2, is Adam's hilarious. The game Never Have I Ever is just insanity and funny. Basically, I'm just a lot of things I found funny in a bad way, or my positives. Otherwise, like, I do like that it was a new idea, like you, but like it was just done so badly.
Yeah, and all the cool concepts that I thought were cool were just set up and just complete and total letdowns.
Yeah. So that's our thoughts on Unfriended. We're going to be doing this podcast once a week, right?
Yeah, most likely we're going to be doing this every Wednesday. Maybe we'll shoot in a Saturday here and there.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be taking requests too. If you have a movie that you want us to review, we'll be, like I said, we'll be looking at things from, early 50s, obscure horrors that maybe no one has heard of, to, really the complete gore fest, to ghost movies, witch movies, any subgenre of horror.
Yeah, we're going to cover all things horror, thriller, stuff like that. We're going to branch off, probably do some other stuff as well, but in the general horror thriller.
Yeah, we'll keep the element of, horror, thriller, maybe sci-fi.
Yeah, like maybe some, like Event Horizon or something like that.
So I'd say like over the past 10 years, a genre that I really like that we've kind of been seeing a trend is comedy horror.
Yes. Like your Tucker and Dale vs. Evils.
And Cabin in the Woods.
Yes.
Those kinds of films. So expect some of that from us as well. So we're looking forward to getting you another episode next week. Thanks for watching. And this is us
signing off.
And welcoming you to our horror family. 2 guys, 1 Necronomicon.
Take care.